Hi, you are welcome to Arise United Devils. I am Kingsley Aigbokaude. Today we have a variety of news on Manchester United. So now let's delve straight right into the news. Manchester United planning for record summer sales in transfer window. That is the headline of the first story. Manchester United are planning for a squad exodus to break double figures in the summer transfer window. United intend to be more proactive in the sellers market and meet the Premier League's profitability and sustainability rules. And co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe's INEOS group have identified several sellable assets. Raphael Varane, Anthony Martial and Tom Heaton are all out of contract in the summer, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof and Facundo Pellistri are out of contract next year. Sofyan Amrabat is said to be returned to Fiorentina after a season-long loan. Casemiro has generated interest from Saudi Pro League clubs, and new owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe confirmed a fresh decision will be made on the future of Mason Greenwood. Greenwood, 22, is under contract until June 2025, and there remains uncertainty over the future of Marcus Rashford, whose form has plummeted this season. Rashford has palpably lost the confidence of the matchgoers, and in a poll on the Red Issues website last month on whether he should be sold, 96% voted in favor of his sale. Loanees Jadon Sancho, Donny van der Beek and Hannibal Mejbri are expected to be made available for sale, though the future of manager Erik could have a bearing on Sancho's future. Benfica have an option to buy the on loan Alvaro Fernandez. United are expected to entertain offers for the £86.3 million Anthony, who has not scored a Premier League goal since April. 19-year-old winger Omari Fosun started ahead of him on the right wing in the defeat to Fulham. Football director John Montauk is still overseeing recruitment, even while United are in discussions to hire Newcastle sporting director Dan Ashworth. Ratcliffe stressed the importance of sales last week. Financial fair play has become a new aspect of running the football club and is clearly a really critical part of running a football club. And you have to think about how you can manage FFP to the benefit of the club. There are different ways in which you can do that, but ultimately, FFP says you have to operate the club within its own means, and effectively, it takes into account your prior expenditure, and the club has spent quite heavily in the last couple of seasons. So that does impact FFP going forward because they have used quite a large part of their allowance. United's record with sales is so unimpressive. Only 5 players, Cristiano Ronaldo, Romelu Lukaku, Angel Di Maria, David Beckham, and Daniel James have left for a fee of £25 million or above. The unofficial transfer deadline day that may cause FFP carnage for Man United and Sir Jim Ratcliffe. That is the headline of the next story. That is the headline of the next story. Manchester United and their Premier League rivals are in a race against the clock to offload players as they attempt to stay on the right side of the financial fair play rules. In recent months, the top flight has decided to take a no-nonsense approach to clubs who flout their profit and sustainability rules. On Monday afternoon, Everton discovered their points deduction, which was originally set at 10 points, has now been reduced to 6 following an appeal. The Toffees are not out of the doghouse yet, though, as they await potential further punishment from the Premier League after fresh charges against themselves and Nottingham Forest earlier this year. It is not just at the bottom who are feeling the squeeze, though. Manchester United are not exempt from FFP worries, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe outlining last week how the Reds will need to be careful in the summer due to how much they have spent previously. One way to do this is to sell players, a process which United has struggled with in recent years. Manchester Evening News Sport understands Ratcliffe is preparing a record summer of sales. However, to ensure these departures show on the financial results for this season, they must be completed by the end of the financial year on Sunday, June 30. As the Daily Mail rightly points out, this date falls slap bang in the middle of the European Championships and Copa America. Many of the players which United are looking to offload could be with their international teams. With players focused on their countries, it could be carnage for domestic clubs to sort transfers for their unwanted stars and potentially lead to FFP breaks. Jadon Sancho's Borussia Dortmund return plummets to a new low after being labelled worst player on the pitch. That is the headline of the next story. Jadon Sancho was labelled as the worst player on the pitch after his dismal performance in Borussia Dortmund's defeat on Sunday. The black and yellow lost 3-2 against Hoffenheim, with Manchester United Loanees Sancho still goalless upon his return. The United outcast made his 7th appearance for Dortmund since returning to the club on loan through the January transfer window. While fans have high hopes of the winger returning to his old form, the opposite has occurred. In his first 2 games back, Sancho made 2 assists but has failed to add to that assist and remains goalless. And the German outlet Der Westen had no shame in saying the 23-year-old was the worst player in the game against Hoffenheim. They said BVB was so happy when Jadon Sancho was brought back during the last winter transfer period. The prodigal son is finally back. He really sent the fans into a state of euphoria. A few weeks later, there's no sign of it anymore. Against TSG Hoffenheim, the supporters hoped that the 23-year-old would finally score his first goal. But they were disappointed once again. The BVB star showed another poor performance against Hoffenheim and was probably the worst player on the pitch. Sancho played 75 minutes of the game before being subbed off after failing to get a shot on target or even successfully cross the ball to his teammates. And it does not look like Dortmund would want to keep the star after sporting director Sebastian Kehl told Sky Sports Germany that the club has already pretty much ruled out making his loan permanent. Anthony faces fight to save Manchester United career with club ready to listen to cut price transfer offers. That is the headline of the next story. Anthony faces a fight to save his Manchester United career, with the club set to listen to cut price offers for their £86 million Brazilian. Erik rated his old club Ajax for Anthony, the second most expensive signing in United history behind Paul Pogba. But the 24-year-old has had a miserable 20 months with issues of the pitch affecting his performances on it. And unless Anthony finds top form soon, United could decide to cut their losses in the summer following Sir Jim Ratcliffe's arrival. Anthony was put on leave of absence in September after allegations of domestic abuse. He returned in October but has contributed no goals, no assists in his last 20 league games. On Sunday, Ten Hag picked 19-year-old Omar Fosun to start against Fulham with Rasmus Højlund out injured. And when United were 1-0 down, the Dutch boss threw on Amad Diallo to try to save the game, with Anthony eventually going on a minute from time in the 2-1 defeat. Ten Hag still hopes to get the best out of a player who did well under him at Ajax. But he admitted after Saturday's game that Diallo and Fosun, as well as Alejandro Garnacho, all deserve to play ahead of Anthony. Ten Hag said it was nothing to do with fitness. He's fit, but we have many options on the right side where we lack in other positions due to injuries. The form Anthony is in, we all have seen, and he has to step up. I see it in training, but also Omar Fosun, Amad Diallo, and Garnacho deserve to play. He has to prove a point, but he will be able to do that. He has big potential, even though he hasn't shown it lately. But I know what his talent is, and it's about him proving his talent. It's about him. He will probably get his opportunities, but I think that was probably always the idea. And you have competitions, and now he has to show himself on the training pitch, but also others do. We have opportunities there with Amad Diallo returning from injury. He's doing well in training. Omar is doing well. We have options to fill in those positions. It's not set that Marcus Rashford has to play as a centre forward. Mikel Arteta to Manchester United. Rio Ferdinand shares outrageous theory on Arsenal boss. That is the headline of the next story. Rio Ferdinand has claimed Mikel Arteta would jump at the chance to manage Manchester United if the opportunity arose at the end of the current season. Erik is under pressure at present and will be desperate to deliver a successful end to the campaign for the sake of his future. United are currently 8 points adrift of the top 4 places and are faced with the challenge of making up this ground between now and May. Whether or not Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the rest of his INEOS team deem the Dutchman the right figure to continue overseeing the first team remains to be seen. Thomas Tuchel is one manager who will be available this summer, and the German has spoken only of his admiration for the Red Devils. Throwing a slightly different name into the mix, Ferdinand has urged Arteta will be willing to ditch Arsenal in favour of a move to Old Trafford if Ten Hag were to be relieved of his duties. Arteta will leave Arsenal to come to Man United 100%, he said on 5. No one is saying it's happening, but if Man United, in their wildest dreams, said, "Do you know what, Erik Ten Hag? Thank you," or Erik Ten Hag has been poached by Bayern Munich, and he goes there, and Man United say, "Right, top of our list, Mikel Arteta." Arteta is going in to Arsenal and saying, "Listen, lads, it's been emotional, but I've got to move and got to go." Arteta was last month linked with becoming the new Barcelona boss amid Xavi's decision to leave the Catalan club at the end of the 2023-2024 season, though the Spaniard pledged his commitment to the Gunners when quizzed on such rumors. The goalie unwanted half-century Manchester United are nearing that only 5 players have avoided. In a season, that is the headline of the last story of the day. In a season where more unwanted records have tumbled for Manchester United, they are nearly an unwanted half-century. United have recorded 46 cases of injury or illness that have caused a player to miss a match this season. Casemiro and Victor Lindelof's withdrawals against Fulham were enforced, and the manager Ten Hag will confirm they are available for the FA Cup tie against Nottingham Forest later today. The injuries range in severity from Kobe Mainoo's 4-month absence with an ankle injury to Tom Heaton's current absence, which has not even been confirmed by Ten Hag. There have been 9 cases of illness that have caused a player to be absent, if that is to include Marcus Rashford's part-enforced, part-dropped omission for the squad at Newport County in the FA Cup through illness after his trip to Belfast. Raphael Varane, who has had the most separate cases of injury or illness, has missed 2 games through being unwell and another as he was not fully fit. Goallily for United, the next player with the most layoffs is Rasmus Højlund, whose fractured back was diagnosed during his medical before a hamstring injury caused him to sit out the win at Everton in November. His absence was costly against Nottingham Forest in December and Fulham on Saturday. Only 4 regular United starters have avoided injury: Andre Onana, Diogo Dalot, Bruno Fernandes, and Alejandro Garnacho. Onana's African Cup of Nations commitments with Cameroon ensured he did not travel to Newport. Dalot has missed 8 games through injury since the start of the 2020-21 season, and Fernandez has extraordinarily never sustained an injury during his 4-year United career. 4 Fulham players were yellow carded for fouling Garnacho in the first half at the weekend. Fernandez has not started in 3 games when he was rested for the League Cup ties against Crystal Palace and Newcastle, and when he was suspended for the Premier League draw with Liverpool. The only games Dalot has started on the bench since August were away to Galatasaray and West Ham, where he was banned. Garnacho has appeared in all but 2 of United's 36 matches this term. He was an unused substitute in the victories over Nottingham Forest and Burnley, and he has started the past 22 games. The Argentine is poised to make his first start in a Manchester derby on Sunday. Altay Bayinde has been available for every game since he signed on transfer deadline day in September, but he has made only 1 appearance. Now we have come to the end of the news today.